She covered her mouth with her hands in an attempt to hide her giggles as he did his exercises. Then one day, she wasn't laughing anymore. The look of euphoria spread across her face as she lay there beside him, still trembling, wondering how she could have forgotten what real lovemaking could feel like. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back a little bit in time. There was a man, let's call him Jim. His erection had gotten too weak for penetration. Well, feeling like a failure, as a lot of men do when this happens, he slowly sank into depression. The more time that passed, the worse he felt. He stopped looking forward to bedtime. He just didn't feel like himself anymore. So he started scrolling through social media just to take his mind off his problem. But you know how social media is. It always seems to know just what you're thinking. And soon his feed started filling with advertisements promising to cure his erectile dysfunction. Oh, he tried taking supplements and the newest miracle pill, and none of them helped. But it was time for his annual physical checkup, so he finally worked up the courage to tell his doctor. And his doctor, well, he did what doctors are trained to do. He wrote him a prescription. Unfortunately, Jim was one of those men that pills simply just didn't work. Then, purely by accident, he saw a post on Facebook that talked about a long forgotten technique that promised to transform his erection. Well, he almost kept scrolling, but it was just kind of like this particular post was calling to him. Well, he figured he'd tried everything else, so he might as well just watch this video too. At this point, he figured he had nothing to lose. Well, in this video was a handsome older gentleman. Okay, not handsome, but definitely older. Anyway, he said that there were certain things that you could do to transform your weak erection into a strong, firm erection. And he said it with confidence. He explained that there were certain organs in your body that controlled your sexual energy. And the more he talked, the more confident he sounded. He went on to say that there were specific muscles that could be exercised and strengthened to keep your erection strong. And he talked about ways to increase the blood flow into your penis and how certain stretching exercises could prepare your penis for the increased blood flow. And what impressed Jim was when he got to the part about training your body instead of depending on pills. Well, that sounded different from everything else that he had tried, so he decided to give it a chance. Now, it wasn't because he really believed that it would work, but because he had tried almost everything else out there. Well, the first few evenings, his wife couldn't stop smiling while she watched him do all the exercises. Actually, she thought they looked pretty silly. But then she noticed something else. He wasn't giving up anymore. For the first time in a really long time, he had hope. Weeks passed, and his confidence slowly began returning. His body started responding. And then one night, everything changed. And that brings us back to where we began. She lay there trying to catch her breath, wondering where this man had been hiding. The exercises had changed more than his erections. They had given him back his confidence, his hope, and a part of their marriage that they thought they had lost. Now, if you're standing where he once stood, wondering if anything at all can really help, I'd like to invite you to take the same first step he did. The link, it's in the description below. However, if you're still thinking about it and you'd like to know what's in the course, there's also a link for you to download the course overview. And if any of these videos are helping you, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss the next one. And I want you to understand something. You are not broken, and you don't have to do this by yourself. I will be right here to help you.